Being around people is supposed to be good for us, but you don't have to exist on this planet very long to have an experience where being around another person was bad for you, or maybe even damaging to you. And there's a really good proverb in the Bible that I think helps bring light to why some interactions with people build you up and other interactions with people tear you down or even damage you. Even before we get into the proverb, we really need to talk about knives. I've heard from a lot of people who spend a lot of time chopping things in kitchens that a dull knife is actually more dangerous than a sharp knife. That's kind of counterintuitive, but that dull knife is more likely to slip and not do its job and end up cutting the wrong thing, like your finger. So if you want to keep a knife sharp, you obviously have to sharpen it. We've all probably seen some of those old movies where people are ominously sharpening two blades together. It always seems to be a sketchy person in the corner who looks like they're about to do something bad using two knives to sharpen each other. I'm using two knives because I just changed my knife block and this one didn't come with a honing wand, which is the normal rod that you sharpen a knife with. I also have some fond memories of my mom being on the back porch gutting out fish that my brother caught when he was fishing in the bay. And in between gutting out individual fish, she would take the knife to the concrete and sharpen the edge before she cut into the next fish. But whether you're using a honing wand or two knives or the concrete on the back patio, there is a technique to sharpening knives to make knives sharper. And I don't think it's reading into things too much to take that technique into consideration when we look at this verse in Proverbs chapter 27. It's 27:17. You might have heard it before. It goes a little something like, I gotta stop waving this around, huh? It goes a little something like this. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Now you might have heard in another translation, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. But I picked the New King James Version on purpose because it uses the word countenance there, and the word countenance in the original Hebrew can be translated a number of different ways. Yes, it is the face, but it's also kind of the leading edge of a thing. And so while the proverb writer could have chosen any way of wording this. Knives sharpen each other, people sharpen each other. It seemed like he was intentionally trying to make some sort of edge pun because you sharpen the edges of a knife together and humans sharpen the edges of one another. He could have said mind, he could have said heart, but he said the countenance or edge of a man sharpens the edge of another man. Now, it's only 2 lines of Hebrew poetry. But I do think it's 2 lines that, if we take into consideration what it is discussing, actually reveal a lot more depth than just 2 lines. You see, iron does sharpen iron, and two people can sharpen one another. But iron doesn't always sharpen iron, and people don't always sharpen each other. If I took these 2 knives, the chef's knife and the... What's this knife called? Let me go check. It's printed on the knife block, the Santoku knife. The chef's knife and the Santoku knife, if I take them and I just smack them together edge to edge, is that going to make these knives sharper? Or if I take the backside and smack them together, is this going to make them... Obviously, this is a dumb question. It's not going to make them any sharper. There is a way that you have to make these things come into contact with each other that makes them sharper. Also, just by these things being in the same room, like, actually, as iron sharpens iron, well, let's just store them like this. Why don't we just stack the knives together? Will that make them sharper? You see, there are 2 ingredients for 2 irons or 2 steel things or 2 knives to sharpen each other. 2 essential ingredients. The first of those ingredients is precision. Just because 2 knives are clashing against each other, just because 2 irons are hitting each other, doesn't mean that they are going to sharpen each other. There is a precise angle that you want to take in consideration as you are sharpening the knives. You have to be precise. You have to be intentional. You have to exercise wisdom and discernment in the way that you are bringing these 2 blades into contact with one another. There has to be precision. On the other hand, there also has to be friction. If there is no friction, if I got the right angle and I brought them into contact with each other, but then had no friction, not enough pressure, not enough actual scraping against one another, then the knife will not get any sharper. In order for iron to sharpen iron, you need precision and you need friction. And in the same way, in order for 2 people to sharpen one another, you need precision and you need friction. This explains why you can be friends with someone for years And you can get along great and you can do a lot of the same activities and you can have fun together. But if there's not ever any friction, if there's not ever any pushing against one another, then you will not sharpen each other. This also explains why sometimes you're in one of those relationships that is constant collision, it's constant friction, but there is no precision to it. It's not thoughtful, it's not intentional, it's not with the desire to help that person grow. It's just friction for friction's sake. It's collision. So not only do you not sharpen the other person, but you in fact might be damaging the blade. You might be dulling that other person with the way you are haphazardly colliding all the time. Now, I'm a big fan of personality assessments as a way of growing in self-awareness, but one of the things I've noticed about people who take the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs or one of these other, like it could even be the Big Five or DISC or attachment styles or whatever, is that sometimes after taking one of these personality assessments, people then begin to think, okay, well, since I'm an introvert, and since I'm a non-confrontational peacemaker, or since I'm the go along to get along, easygoing type, pick your personality system of choice, that then becomes a sort of crutch or an excuse to then not have to meaningfully confront people when they are doing something wrong. It then becomes an excuse to be like, okay, well, this is just my personality, and so I'm gonna chill around the other blades without actually making any contact, or if I do make contact, I'll just make sure I'm as gentle as possible. But the problem with that is by doing so, you are denying your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers, you're denying them the opportunity to be sharpened. And similarly, there are people who have the personality types that are the confrontational type, the in-your-face type, the get-it-done type, the extroverted, powerful type. And then they use that as an excuse to be like, well, this is just who I am. You got to deal with it. When I come up to people, I bang, 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 I clash. That's what I do. It's just who I am. But they're lacking the precision and the intentionality to slow down for a second and decide how they're going to make that confrontation happen. So instead of sharpening the people around them, they dull and they damage. So in your friendships, in your family, with your coworkers, with your brothers and sisters at church, let's be good knives that sharpen other knives, that are precise enough to not damage the other blades around us, but be courageous enough to cause a little bit of friction and pressure so that the people that you love can actually get sharper. Let's be sharp irons that make a difference in this world and avoid cutting your favorite chef's fingers off.